morning.
Good morning.
You guys doing okay?
Yeah.
Awesome. Good. So I'm Miss Fisher. I teach 8th grade English. I'm sure you guys, most of you know that. I am currently going to school to be a school librarian. So part of my program, I have to teach a lesson where I'm pretending like I'm the school librarian and I'm collaborating with this lawyer. So I'm going to walk you guys through today how to do some research. So if you guys have a question about something and you have to look something up, what do you usually do?
Go to Google.
You go to Google. Okay. So what's wrong with going to Google?
They don't really all have much credible resources to
Okay.
go to.
Good. So there might not be credible sources. What else is wrong with going to Google?
Wrong information.
Good. Sometimes there
Fake
might be
news.
wrong
Not always
information.
Not always
Good.
accurate.
Yeah, it's not as accurate. Why? Yeah. What kind of website can people edit?
Wikipedia.
Wikipedia. Very good. So
And because people create websites without not much knowledge.
they do. You're right. So something that Frederick County pays for us are some databases where you can go to actually get credible resources. So when you need to find information for something, you could access a database and they will give you credible resources. They'll even give you citations. What are citations? Yeah, where your sources are from. So what is it called if you use information from a source and you don't say where it came from?
Plagiarism.
Right,
Because
so.
it's taken, it's not your own.
Yes, exactly. So it's basically like stealing. So if you plagiarize something and you get caught, anybody know what might happen?
Oh, you'll be fined and you'll go to jail.
Okay, so maybe not always that extreme, but it could happen depending on the intensity of what you've stolen.
Yeah.
Okay, so anything that you guys write, as soon as you type it, that's automatically protected by copyright. Okay, so no one else could just take your work that you've written and just take it and use it as theirs, because that would be plagiarizing. So it's really important, especially when you're using sources that people have, published and they've done the research for, the credible research, that you give credit to where that information came from. So we're going to walk you through how to use Britannica. Have any of you used Britannica before?
Oh yeah.
Yeah? Good. Okay. So Britannica has a lot of really great features, and one of the features is that it's going to give you those citations, so you don't even have to worry about like getting a citation generator and figuring out what information you need. You're just going to copy that citation and paste it into your report. So we're going to go into our clever single sign-on. We're going to log in with Google, and we log in as teachers. And from here, we are going to scroll down until we see Britannica School. So it's going to be right here. And it's going to bring you to this page. What do we think we're going to click from here?
Middle.
Middle. Very good. Middle. Alright, so this is what the Britannica homepage looks like. And they're going to give you all kinds of things you can explore, like articles you can look into at a glance, some content which is going to be helpful for you if you decide to favorite any of your articles. You'll be able to go back and quickly access the ones that you've saved. You will have to sign in for that. Some videos, all kinds of things that you can just kind of scroll through. We're going to focus on this search button though, and we're just going to do some searching. So you guys are going to be looking for the different political parties. I'm just going to type something random here for our purposes today. So you're going to see it gives me a ton of results. It does give me different reading levels, so if you want something that has super simple, easy to understand vocabulary, you can lower that, or if you want something a little more challenging, you can raise it up to a 3. The default is just a 2, just right in the middle. It's going to give me the option to look for articles, images, videos, and then there's a bunch of other things you can look for too. And you'll see that they give you articles here, some images related to your search. I'm going to click on this first one here. And then this star here is also how you can favorite that if you want to refer back to it later. It is going to prompt you to sign in with Google though when you do that. So all of your Britannica articles are going to show you like a nice pretty background here. You'll scroll down, you'll see a table of contents. So if I knew something specific I was searching for, I could just click on that and it's going to take me right to that section in the article. So I don't have to necessarily go through and skim and read everything there. I can just jump to whatever I needed. What's going to be really helpful for you are these buttons up here. So you can send this if you wanted to send it to your email so you have it later. You can do that. Again, you can favorite it here so you can go back to it later without having to do your search again. You could print it, you could cite it, and this is where you're going to use this button because you guys are going to do some research, write down some of your facts that you find, and then you're gonna have to tell us where you got this information from. And this is the awesome thing about Britannica is you literally just copy this and paste it into your document, and there's your citation. So you've given credit to where your source came from, so you will not be getting in trouble for plagiarizing. So that's going to be a really important feature for you to pay attention to. Okay. It also gives you the option to translate into different languages, and if you want it read to you, you can listen to it. And I believe you can select certain sections, so you can just listen to those sections if you want it read to you. You can even increase your font or decrease your font. So these are all of the features of Britannica. And again, your most important button is going to be this cite button here after you get your information. All right, so we already talked about citations and we talked about plagiarism and what that is. So we talked about citations. Have you guys heard of MLA citations?
I've heard of it, I just don't know what it is.
Okay, so that's a style of citation, and that's what you guys are going to use for giving credit to your sources. And again, Britannica automatically puts in an MLA citation style for you. You'll use that more next year when you guys get into high school. But what we're going to focus on is parenthetical citations. So you're going to make a list. You'll write a paragraph after you do your research. You're going to make a list of all of your citations that you use in that paragraph. So I think you'll have more citations probably from your research, and then whatever information you use in your paragraph that you write, you give credit to that, and that's going to be that citations list. You have to cite at the end of the sentence before you change your sentences, and there's two ways for you to use information from a source. You can either paraphrase or use a direct quote. Have you guys heard the word paraphrase before? Can anyone tell me what that means?
No.
No?
Switch up the words, but it means the same thing.
Exactly, yeah. So you're switching up the words that you take from that information, but it has the same meaning. So those of you who have Miss Sue Guy for English, you know, you reword your thesis statement in your conclusion paragraph just like that, where you're changing up the words, but it has the same meaning. That's what paraphrasing means. And then a direct quote, what do you think that means?
A direct quote, like
Quoted directly.
a thing to
Yep.
take it from the book.
Exactly. So you'll have to use quotation marks for that. So this is an example. We're not going to read this whole paragraph. This is an example of paraphrasing. Again, it's putting a passage from a source in your own words, has the same meaning but different words than the original source. So if we said this line here, this sentence, my phone can also be used to help translate items into different languages. This one here that we put in parentheses and then we put the period after shows that we got that information from the first source in our citations list. Same thing down here, we have a 3 in parentheses. Kids are more highly motivated to complete schoolwork and are more focused while listening to music. Do you guys agree with that? You like to listen to music? So if we got that information from source 3, we're going to put that in the parentheses, the number 3. And that again is paraphrasing. Then your citations list is going to look like this. So these citations came directly from Britannica. I just copied and pasted them. And then I have numbered them, which is something that's a little different from MLA format. I've numbered them so that I can show where those citations are in my essay, in my paragraph. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at a direct quote example. So this one focuses on cyberbullying, and it says, one source says, comma, and then our quote, 7.5% of students report being cyberbullied in the past 30 days. We have our end quotation mark, and then 1 in parentheses, and then the period. So that's going to be really important to pay attention to is where your quotation marks are, and that you're putting your citation here in parentheses, and then your period. Same thing with this last sentence. In one study, students say they are much more likely to be cyberbullied than be bullied in person, quote, and then your parentheses with the number in the citation. So when you're using a direct quote, another important thing to pay attention to is to make sure that you're introducing that quote. Don't just start your sentence with the quote and not say where it came from. Saying one source says or in one study, that kind of introduces that we're about to hear a quote from somewhere else, that it's not your direct words. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah? What questions do you guys have right now? Your citation list again. No? No questions? Alright, then do you wanna give them their sheets or what do they need?
It's actually in Google Classroom.
Okay, perfect. Go ahead and get your Chromebooks out then, guys. Get you started on your assignment and get you into Britannica. Good to see you. Are you liking that book?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys, it'll be labeled Friday, March 4th and Monday, March 7th. So that tells you right off the bat, you're going to have 2 days to do the assignment. This is the Google Doc that you will be using. I did it in Google Doc because then you can just copy and paste and then you make things longer, shorter, whatever you need to fit your stuff in there. Okay? Look at your directions. Using the resources you have been given, answer the following questions. In addition to providing an answer, you must provide the source you used for every question. Okay, you will see every question you have to say what source you used. And that's not just say Britannica. That's copying and pasting the exact spot where you got the information from, just like Mrs. Fisher just went over with you. Okay? And some of the questions will be more difficult than others. But this is how you're gonna culminate your project, okay, or your activity. Question 8, based on your research, write a paragraph describing which political party you think you would belong to if you chose to join one. You must support your choice by providing at least 3 facts you found out about the party you selected. You must also provide the source for each of the facts. So just like the sample Mrs. Fisher was going over with you had three sort, you need to have a minimum of 3 for yours as well. Number and list the sources you used at the end of your paragraph. Then in the body of your paragraph, after you list a reason, put the number of the sort you used in parentheses. Just like the sample Mrs. Fisher showed you. And if you say, when you get there, I forgot what Mrs. Fisher did, if you look right here, posted on here is a sample, okay? If you forgot anything that Mrs. Fisher said about how to access the material, there's a spot where you can go and review the video that will go over that with you. Right now, are there any questions over what you're going to be doing? Okay, yes?
Why can't we just cite the source in the article order?
Because for this particular assignment, I want you to do it numerically. When you get into your more formal research projects, you will be citing it alphabetically at the end in their bibliography or your works cited page. However, you would also have to cite it differently within the context of your paper. You could not just do a number. You would have to have part of the author's last name, and if you don't have an author and it's done by title, you have to have the title part there. It gets a lot more complicated, okay? That's why.
We just tried to make it easier for you, so you could just put a number in here and then just number them down there. That's a good question. They will be alphabetically arranged in a normal MLA citation style.
But I'm not asking for a bibliography. I'm not asking for a works cited page. If I were asking for those things, it would be alphabetized, just like you said. That's a very good question. Awesome question. Anyone else have any questions? All right, so everyone should have their Chromebook. I want to see you guys get to Britannica and pull up and your classroom and pull up the assignment. Mrs. Fisher and I will walk around and help anyone that needs it. One of the issues that earlier classes had, they just wanted to put the URL as the source. Okay, that's not citing it. You have to do just like was demonstrated and get the actual citing, copy and paste all of that into the document, okay?